Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you about what happens when the people in your life that you've always looked up to turn out to be not what you thought. So I couldn't really decide what I wanted to title this podcast episode. At first I wanted to title it, You Always Have the Right to Change Your Mind. But then I thought, no, I've done a podcast about something similar and people might think it's the same thing and it's not. And I don't want people to not listen because I think that this is something really important. I want to talk to you about the fact that you have the free will to change who you look up to and who you model at any point in your life. And this is a tough thing because for me personally, there were people that I always looked up to when I was growing up, that as I grew up and I discovered who I really was and who my values really were, they no longer aligned with those people. And it's not like I didn't love those people anymore, don't get me wrong. Of course I did. But it's just, when I looked at those people, I didn't see anymore what I once saw. When we're growing up, we look to people to be our role models, people that, I don't want to use the term idolize because I don't think that you should ever idolize anyone because you're your own human being and you want to be unique. But there are people that we look to who lead by example. And they're usually the people that are important to us in our lives. It can be parents, teachers, friends, religious leaders, anyone in the community that you looked up to. It can even be people that you see on TV because obviously people do tend to look up to celebrities. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But we're looking for people that we identify with to a certain degree and who make us want to be better, and we sort of want to be like those people. So we listen to them, we learn from them, we take their ideas, and I'm not saying that we become carbon copies of those people, and no one should ever do that. But you definitely take a lot of your ideals and your values and the things that you hold to be true from those people around you. And like in my own life, what happened for me is I was raised in a very strict sort of religion. And as I was growing up, I used to go to church all the time with people in my family that I looked up to. And I wanted to be prim and proper and just like these people. And then as I grew older, I realized that I didn't fit in that mold. And what was being taught at that church wasn't something that I believed in anymore. There were things that I agreed with, but there are also pieces that it just never really felt right and didn't sit right with me. And I've always heard that whenever you hear the truth, you know it in your soul. And so I would agree with that. I would have to say that being a young person growing up in a church, I mean, you're a young person, you take what people tell you to heart. And being 8 or 9 years old and being impressionable, I heard things that were preached at the church that I just couldn't wrap my head around and I just didn't believe to be true. I would hear things like, if someone swears they're going to hell or they drink, they're going to hell. And I thought to myself, why? Why is that the crossing line? You can make any word you want into a bad word. And it's kind of interesting because I've been watching on Netflix, and don't watch this unless you're okay with hearing swear words because they say them a lot. But I'm always about learning more. And so there's a series on Netflix called The History of Swear Words. Someone told me about it, so I thought, okay, I'm going to check it out. And I mean, they say every other word. They talk about it, though, like how it originated. And that I find fascinating. And what I find really fascinating is that as a teacher of language, you know that language changes and evolves. So any word could be made into a swear word depending on your intent. So when you think about it, everybody swears Because some people just say, darn it. Well, that could be taken badly. That could be a swear word. It's just not, in our particular society, we don't consider it to be as bad as some others. But maybe in the 1400s, that was a terrible word. You know what I mean? I'm just making things up here, but you get what I'm trying to say. You can take anything and make it into a swear word. I think of the show The Good Place, where she can't cuss, so she would say, holy shirt, and what the fork? You know, it's funny, and everyone knows the word that would have been placed there, but it's all about your intention when you say those things. And again, you can agree with me or disagree, that's totally fine. But this is how I felt. And growing up, I would hear these things, and I would think, I don't think that's true. You know, so there were just things that didn't sit well with me. And again, they say when you hear the truth, your soul knows it. So I never really became interested in that. There were things that I really appreciated about religion and going to church and that I liked, and other things I really didn't. So as I got older, I did my own research, going through a spiritual awakening. I read everything I could get my hands on to see, like, okay, there's so many different kinds of religions out there. Like, what's the right one? What is the right thing? And I think you just have to really do what is right for you and what works for you. Why am I talking about all of this and going on and on and on? So here's my point. So people that I looked up to as I was growing up, they no longer resonated with me in that way. So even though I still respected them, still loved them, I didn't want to follow what they did. I was no longer looking to do the same things and to learn from those people, if you will. Well, in the same way, as I've gotten older, you've all heard me talk about having different mentors. And it's great, I think, to have mentors. But you can also change your mind about who is mentoring you in your life. I believe we have many different teachers who come into our lives in different parts of our lives, you know, for different times and different reasons. So you may have people that you really resonate with for a while, and then maybe they don't resonate with you anymore. And that's okay. That happens. And that's sort of what's been happening to me lately. I had a mentor that I worked with for a long time, and is the one that really got me started on this path to spirituality and to thinking outside the box and to getting into healing. And for that, I will forever be grateful. But this particular mentor lately has sort of gone a different direction. And it's one that I do not feel connected to at all. Like, I don't even feel like this is the same person that I was once looking up to and learning from and all of those things. And that's, again, perfectly fine. Because as humans, we all have the free will to do what we want to do. And for some of us, that means if we want to completely wake up tomorrow and change everything about our lives, we have the free will to do that. But that also means that if there are people in your life that you look up to, that you respect, and you wake up tomorrow and you say, you know what, I don't resonate with that person anymore, that's okay too. And you don't have to keep going down that same path and following that same person. And it can be very confusing because maybe somebody that you really truly looked up to. This was someone I really truly looked up to. And the more things this person's posting and saying just isn't aligning at all with where I am right now. And it doesn't mean this person's wrong at all. I'm not saying that at all. Because your path is your path and your journey is your journey. I can't tell anyone else what to do and say, well, you should be doing this. It's this person's path to follow and to figure out. But where our paths were kind of parallel before, and where I felt like this mentor was a little bit ahead of me and I was, looking ahead and learning and all of these things, I no longer feel that way. I feel now almost repelled by that path. So where this person's going to go this way, I kind of want to go the opposite way. And again, it's no disrespect to this person or to this person's journey or what's going on. we all have to do our own thing. We all have our own journeys. But I just want you to know that it's perfectly okay to follow someone sometimes. I've had people say to me, like, I don't resonate with you anymore. And that's okay. Of course, I want everyone to be happy and to learn and to grow as much as they can. And if I'm not helping you do that, absolutely, go find someone else. I don't wish anyone any ill who says that or does that. And I get it. You have to resonate with people. They have to entertain you and keep you coming back. And if I don't do that, I'm sad to see you go, but I also wish you well, and I hope you find your path and your journey. And, that's the way that life works. And I sometimes listen to people, follow their YouTube channels, and that happens to me all the time, where I'll really resonate with someone for a short period of my life, and I really take a lot from them. And then all of a sudden, it's like I don't resonate with that person anymore. And it's not a I don't like what they're doing kind of a thing. Now with the mentor that I'm talking about, it's a little different because this person is completely going down a different path that I know I'm not meant to go down. I'm not meant to travel that path. And with the other people, it's just that they helped me for a while and I got everything that I could get, and then I just felt like, okay, now I can move on. And then sometimes I'll go back to that person. It's like I resonate with different people at different points in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. So I don't want you to ever feel like if you follow somebody that you're glued to that person for life. You're not. If you wake up tomorrow and the person that you look up to and that mentors you is suddenly not the same person, not doing the same things, or maybe they are and you're just saying to yourself, I don't really feel it anymore. I don't feel like this is helping me. Absolutely, you can move on and go and find someone else to mentor you or to look up to. That's life. That is like the cycle of life. We just go through different phases, and some people are meant to be in our lives for the long haul, for the lifetime, and some people are not. Some people just show up in your life for the time when you need them, and then they go away. And that's a hard lesson for a lot of us because as human beings, we don't like change. So we don't want people coming in and out of our lives. But I was talking with a client the other day, and part of the purpose for us to come here is to learn love in all of its different forms. And you can't do that if you stick with the same people your whole lives. Obviously, we do stick with some people our whole lives. And that's because we're learning the different types of love. Some love does last a lifetime. The love of our family members. Usually we stick with our family throughout our whole lives. But there are some people that maybe you only know a short time. I have a friend who we can talk and not see each other or talk for months, and then we come back and pick up like nothing's happened. And that's been the whole relationship for us. Obviously, we spent a lot of time together early on, or we wouldn't have formed this kind of relationship. But now we're the type of friends that no matter where we are, no matter how long it's been, you just pick up the phone, send a text, get together, and it's like nothing has ever changed. And that's amazing to have friends like that who are part of your whole life, but not maybe necessarily in every portion of it. So we have different soulmate relationships. We have people who come into our lives for a season, and they're there for a little while, and they help us through different situations in our lives. And we have people who are there for the long haul. And then we have people who come in for a specific reason to teach us a lesson. And only you can really figure out who those people are to you, or when people show up in your life, are they there for the long haul or not? And whatever you decide, again, is fine with you. So don't think that because you've been supporting and following a person for so long, you have to continue doing it. It's like making a mistake. Being in the wrong job or the wrong relationship. Just because you've done it forever doesn't mean that you need to keep doing it. I love the saying that says, you don't have to keep making the same mistake over and over again just because you've spent so long making it. And it's true. You can wake up at any time in your life and decide, I want to do something different. But the thing is, you're the one who has to take that action and to take that step. For most of us, when we talk about people being our role models, they're not people that we necessarily interact with on a daily basis. So if you just step away, it's not really a big deal and the person may not really notice. But sometimes they are people who are close to us. And so you have to make that uncomfortable decision. I think people get uncomfortable with that, with saying, hey, I no longer resonate with you. You're going a different direction than I am in my life, and we should probably just go our separate ways. That's really difficult. But it's not always a conversation you have to have. Like I said, in this case where it was my family members, I didn't have to have a conversation with them. I just followed my own path, my own heart. I still love them. I still saw them. But I just realized and recognized within myself that these were no longer people that I looked to give me guidance where I once did. And it's no disrespect to them at all. And they probably never even noticed that I felt that way. It's an internal decision that we make, that we're either going to continue listening to and following people that we don't resonate with, or we're going to strike out and seek people that are a part of our soul tribe. I think that's a big part of the lesson of being here too, is trying to figure out who your soul family really is and who you really should be associating with. Not that you can't associate with people who aren't part of your soul tribe, but when you finally do find your soul tribe and the people you resonate with and that you're learning a lot from, it's an awesome experience. Because you grow so much just from listening to those people and learning the things that they have to offer. And I learned so much from my mentor and I'm super grateful about everything that I learned. It's just, the reason I wanted to do this podcast today is because, we all have social media. But when you go to social media and sometimes you see the way that people behave on social media, it's a little disheartening, I have to say. And I'm sure you've all had an experience or two with that, where someone if they were just out in public speaking, would never say what they say on social media. And then you go and you look and you're like, oh, okay, so that's how we are, okay. But there are consequences to that, and that's one of the messages that I was channeling too from the universe. I did a card reading on Instagram. I posted it Saturday, and I did a channeling of messages, and one of the messages that I received was that we need to be better about what we post on social media, and that we need to stop posting mean things and stop posting things that are not true. So before you post something on social media, whether it's an article or you're trying to give people information, you need to first do your research and fact check and make sure it's actually correct, because I've seen so many people lately posting things that aren't true. And then they're saying things like, oh, Facebook is censoring us, and I've seen it all. And, you don't have to agree with me at all. Ever at any time do you have to agree with me. But I believe that a big problem lately has been that people are posting a lot of things that are not true. And it makes it hard for people to distinguish between what is true and what is untrue. And the message that I channeled from the universe was, you need to ask these 3 things before, and I know you've heard this before, but this is what came through. You need to ask yourself these 3 things before you post on social media. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? Because if it's not any of those 3 things, then what you're posting out there is something that lowers people's energy. When we're spreading lies, when we are being unkind, and when we are posting things that really aren't that necessary. And I'm not talking about funny memes that, if people have a sense of humor, those things make you laugh. That's not the same thing. But I'm talking about posting serious articles. Those 3 things. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Because otherwise, we're just filling our headspace with so much noise And it's causing us to lower our frequency because we see all of these things that are nasty. And I know you've been seeing it lately too. And we just have to go through and filter what we see sometimes, just because we don't want to spend time depleting our own energy by reading things that are just nasty comments. So sometimes I have to go through and I have to filter through my social media settings and unfollow people who are constantly posting negative things, because it really does make you feel drained, and it puts you in a bad mood, and it does so many things. That are not really positive. So it's important sometimes to go through and filter through your social media, who you follow, and just clean it up a little bit. It's necessary. So if you feel like there are people, and that's another good point, if you follow people on social media and you find that, I'm not resonating with what they're posting anymore, check that too. And I've seen a lot of people post about the privacy settings on Facebook. You do have to be vigilant about your settings, because this is social media and they are using your information. Of course they are. Companies do that all the time. They do it through the computer. If you're on a website, they do it everywhere. This isn't anything new. People are suddenly outraged. It's like, well, you just have to continue to be hyper vigilant about your privacy and going into your settings and making sure that you're marking the settings correctly, because absolutely social media is listening to your conversations and everything to feed you ads that, have to do with what you like. That's why they do it. And, it's to make more sales and more revenue. If you've ever noticed, you will talk to somebody about a new bike or something, and then all of a sudden you go to Facebook and there are all these ads for bikes. It's not a coincidence. The social media platforms, they are listening to what we do. They are looking at what we search, all of those things. And it's for a lot of reasons, and the biggest reason is for advertisement and making money, monetizing their sites, because you don't pay to use Facebook. So just go in and check your privacy settings and make sure that you're clearing your outside Facebook user information, which you can do under the settings. You just go to settings and privacy, and then you can look it up if it's been all over the place. But all that really does is then they can't take where you go outside of Facebook and use it to give you ads on Facebook. Is it a super huge deal? I don't really think probably, but it never hurts to go through and clear. It's like clearing your cache on your computer sometimes. It gets overloaded with all of your search engine results, and Google does the same thing. When you search for things, and it remembers your search, and then it tries to throw that advertisement back at you. This has been happening for a long time. This is not anything new. Nothing to be like, oh my gosh, It's not that. It's that they're using it for business purposes, for marketing, and for advertising and research. So there's lots of information about that out there if you want to ever check that out. All right. Well, I know that was a lot, but I really just wanted to get the point across that you have to do what's best for you. And that includes, when we talk about eliminating people from your life, it means to people that maybe you learn from. Maybe you don't resonate with those people anymore, and that's okay too. I want to thank you guys for following me and for listening. I always appreciate you guys, and just know that I hope that I can always be informative for you. But if you have suggestions, if there's ever a topic you want to learn more about, things you want me to tap into, absolutely send me a message. I love getting feedback from my listeners, and I don't take offense to it. I really don't. I just ask that you wouldn't make it a huge review, because then I take a hit personally on my page for that if you write a negative review. But if you have a suggestion, you can always just send me a message. I will take it into consideration. And if you have a topic idea, I've had people do that. Hey, I'd like to know more about this. Can you do an episode about this? Yes, send me your information. I would love to hear from you. We have to work together to make this platform the best that it can be. And that is my goal, is to help you and to teach you and to hopefully make your day a little bit better when you're with me. All right, guys. Well, I wanted to pull a card for you today. So the card that I pulled is from The Teachings of Abraham deck by Jerry and Esther Hicks. And the card I pulled is, I can always reach for a thought that feels better. Your decision to reach for a thought that feels good is a powerful decision, for it serves you in many ways. The better feeling thought reverberates within you, opening passageways to well-being that reach far beyond this one good feeling thought. I love that. And it's true. We have a choice every single day. We can either choose to dwell in the misery that's around us and make ourselves crazy. And I've been working with clients recently, and that is the one thing that we've had to tackle. And it's been multiple clients that they're having a constant negative stream of thought because they're worried about a situation and how it's going to unfold. And I told them the best thing you can do is to disrupt that pattern of thought and to do something different. And for me, sometimes it's taking a deep breath and just saying to the universe, I know I'm out of alignment, help me to get back into alignment. And then I might think of a happy thought, a memory that brings me joy. Or I might do something different. I might go for a walk or do a meditation, do an EFT tapping, something to disrupt that pattern and flow of negative thinking, because it's sort of like a whirlpool that once you get in that energy, it's hard to get out of it. So you've got to quickly be present in the moment and switch, turn around and get that going the other way. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you for being here with me. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. You can leave me some stars on iTunes. I really appreciate that. The highest compliment that you can pay me is just to refer me to others. So thank you for those who do that. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I go live Mondays at 6:30 Central on Facebook, where I do a free card reading. If you show up for the live, I'll pull a card especially for you, and you can always catch the replay. Also, I do videos that I post to Instagram, usually on Saturdays, and I also have free guided meditations on my YouTube channel. If you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com. I offer one-on-one coaching, Reiki, past life regression, and readings. And I also have online courses, so you can go check that out. You can still purchase my book, Beautifully Broken. It's available on audiobook. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Goodreads. All of the links are in the description and the show notes. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with me. I hope you have a beautiful day from wherever you're listening, and I am sending you so much love and light. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.